Before we get things underway, I didn't say this in the previous video of the show, I'll say this here in this one. Merry Christmas if you do celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays. It is indeed a festive time in the world, isn't it? So, best wishes to you and all your family and loved ones. Hopefully, we are all able to celebrate in a safe, loving, caring environment and in a way that allows us to go on our phones and watch YouTube videos and support the YouTubers that are still making videos today by watching their advertisements. Either way, let's talk about some Colorado Avalanche stuff. Our source is an article written here by Peter Bowe from the other day. It is Cale Makar's Hart Trophy odds, early Avalanche trade targets, and the future of the second line. Here is your mailbag from December 23rd. Now, you know the protocol at this point. The Athletic, paid for material. We're not going to go ahead and screenshot that because it's behind a paywall. So instead, we're going over onto ProHockeyRumours.com, where they actually had an article summarizing what it was that was written out here on this Athletic piece. The Colorado Avalanche could look for added defenseman depth. Both articles will be linked in the description below. Now, of course, because this is a mailbag, this is just kind of a Q&A, ask Peter Bowe a question about the Avalanche and he'll give his answer to you kind of format, and so we're only really focusing on one of the ideas that is brought up here in the piece. Take a look at the ProHockeyRumours.com article, it summarizes it pretty well. Bowe suggests in a mailbag piece that the team could look to add on defense if the injury situation on the team does not improve. Colorado expected both Bowen Byram and Ryan Murray to play some meaningful minutes this year, supplementing one of the best 1-2-3 punches in the league on the back end with Cale Makar, Devon Toews, and Samuel Girard. They're both out for indefinite periods of time. Now, before we proceed, I gotta give my 2 cents out on that first. Yeah, that Bowen Byram situation, so unfortunate. The guy is such a talented player. Been watching him since his early days with the Vancouver Giants as 16 years old when he made his debut, something like that. He's so talented, dude. And seeing the level of success he had this year before getting taken out of the lineup indefinitely, it's just so unfortunate, man. Same goes out there for Ryan Murray as well. Nobody really expected these two guys to both be out with similar circumstances. But because we have ourselves a situation where the Avalanche could use some more defensive depth due to the manpower they are missing out on in their lineup, a logical trade partner for them could be the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have a logjam on defense and are looking to ship out a player to create some roster and salary cap flexibility. Both Justin Holl and Travis Dermott could be moved out, and there's a decent chance Colorado looks at one of these players. Now here is our idea. Justin Holl or Travis Dermott over to the Colorado Avalanche. Give these guys the Calle Rosen treatment, where you have a Toronto and Colorado trade and a defenseman gets swapped over. Justin Holl, 29 years old, 6'4", 194-pound defenseman. He's a right-handed guy, signed till 2023 at $2 million a season, which isn't a bad cap hit per se, when Justin Holl is actually playing to the best of his ability. It's just, this season he's been really bad. The article even says it here. Justin Holl has really struggled on both sides of the puck this season, just 1 assist in 24 games, and he was healthy scratched for a few games, but he does play over 20 minutes a night on one of the better teams in the league. He also is just 1 season removed from posting solid defensive results on a shutdown pair with Jake Muzzin, and while he hasn't been able to find that consistency this year, a change of scenery could benefit Holl, who would also give Colorado some cost certainty as he is signed till 2023. Now, that indeed is a pretty interesting part to look at because he did have 20 points in 55 games last season. That's a really good production metric. 20 divided by 55 multiplied out by 82 is on pace for about 30 points, which is pretty good for a bottom middle pair defenseman. This season, though, as we said, 1 point, 24 games, it hasn't really been all too great for Justin Holl this season. And even though statistically and on the ice, my goodness, the eye test for this guy, there has been a big decline in his play, even though that's the case, you really would need to go out there and believe in the previous body of work that Holl has had if you were going to go out there and say, okay, this is our guy. I want this guy. I want Justin Holl from the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's smooth skating. He's big. He's lanky. He's right-handed. So there are a whole bunch of benefits to this kind of player. You just really want to see him go out there and get that consistency back. Now, before we go over onto our next player, we're passing the mic to the sponsor of today's video. This episode of the show is brought to you by our favorite producers of undergarments trimmers, Manscaped. The global leaders in below-the-waist grooming are leaving 2021 with new product. Clean yourself into the new year with their ultra premium body wash. Use the code LEGAROX for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. 4 million men already trust Manscaped. It's time to join them. 2022 is on its way, so why not do yourself a favor for the new year? 2021 sucked, and that's why Manscaped is making a splash and upping your grooming game. Their signature Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take down every hair in its path. Their signature performance package also includes the liquid formulations, ear and nose hair trimmer, boxer briefs, and a travel bag. Stay confident after your shave too with the Manscaped Refined Cologne, and hey, while you're in the shower, stay clean with the Ultra Premium Body Wash too. There's a boatload of new product on Manscaped. Go ahead, check it out, and use code LEGAROX to get 20% off and free shipping. Treat yourself this year with Manscaped like 4 million men already have. As for the next player over here, they talk about Travis Dermott in the article as well. There is also the matter of Dermott, who is likely a more attractive trade option for Colorado. He is 4 years younger than Holl, and while he has struggled offensively, just 2 points in 19 games, he has been much less mistake-prone than Holl this year and provides more upside. He is also signed till 2023, although his contract is only $1.5 million. 6 feet 203, a left-handed guy who plays on the right side instead, so he isn't that natural right-handed defenseman, but Travis Dermott still is a pretty attractive option. Now, the production for him hasn't really been there either. 2 points in 19 games this season. He had 6 points in 51 games last year. So his better days when it comes to the cold, hard numbers were actually earlier on in his career, where he had 13 points in 37 games played as a Maple Leafs rookie, and 17 points in 64 games in 2018-19. However, for Travis Dermott, when it comes to what my mind's eye immediately thinks of Dermott whenever I envision his game, obviously I think about the Erie Otters days where he was a really good player with Connor McDavid and, Connor Brown was there, DeBrincat, Dane Fox, and all those guys. You gotta think about the spinoramas, dude. Travis Dermott has this very strange edge to his game where he's not unwilling to go out there and try some nifty moves. He's definitely one of the more aggressively mobile defensemen when he has the puck on his stick, and sometimes that costs him, Kotkaniemi overtime game 6 kind of comes to mind over there, but Travis Dermott is indeed not like that all the time. He is a lot better than that giveaway Travis Dermott that we saw in game 6, but to me, there still is a good amount of value that could be had there because, as we said, $1.5 million a season, signed for 2 more seasons. There's already a whole bunch of trade rumors about this guy going around everywhere. We talked about him and the Islanders, talked about him and a few other teams and all that, so there definitely is a conversation to be had about Travis Dermott. It's just whether or not the Avalanche would want to look at one of these guys that is the question here. Now, for Colorado, the question does kind of arise itself to, okay, you trade for a Justin Holl, you trade for a Travis Dermott, you trade for whoever. What do you do when Bowen Byram comes back? If you even get him coming back, assume they do come back. Ryan Murray and Bowen Byram return to the season before the playoffs or before the trade deadline. Let's just make things interesting over here. Let's say the Avalanche make a trade for a defenseman tomorrow. I don't know when the roster freeze is done, but there is a roster freeze, but let's just say hypothetically there is a trade that is made. What do you do when the guys come back? Do you very simply just send somebody down on waivers? Do you try to make a trade? You try to take your trade back skis? Maybe the Calle Rosen thing actually does happen, where Toronto trades a defenseman over to Colorado, and then a little bit later that guy goes back over to Toronto. Who really knows? Obviously, Toronto wouldn't want to do that. They have themselves enough cap problems as it is. But still, there are indeed questions to be asked here as to what the plan would be once you start getting healthy again, which is inevitable, but it is kind of uncertain as to when that's going to happen. Also, the idea of a trade return pops up too. You trade for a Holl, you trade for a Dermott, what is that return? Is it a second-round pick? The way Justin Holl's been playing this season, I would be very surprised if that guy got a significant return. Anything more than a third-round pick is going to be like, wow, mind-blowing, just kind of stuff right there. He's been bad this season, man. It's been tough. I know Travis Dermott had that stint last season in the playoffs, but his level of consistency has indeed been sort of improved, so at least there's that, and it's kind of why I think it's easier to see why Dermott would be a much more desirable trade candidate. But either way, if you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, let me know in the comments, what would you want for a Travis Dermott or a Justin Holl in a trade? I know a lot of Leafs fans would probably just say, oh, just get Holl off the team for free. Like, if we can just leave him in the dust somewhere, we're good. But, like, Seriously now, what do you think is a realistic return you could probably get for this guy, and what do you actually want to get for this guy? Same question over for Travis Dermott, and also, if Colorado is that team, what would you want from them specifically, if it's not just a very vague answer like a second or a third? If there are prospects you're interested in, hey, let me know in the comments all your thoughts about that. If you're a Colorado Avalanche fan as well, let me know in the comments if you would want to trade for one of these guys. I've been hardcore underselling Justin Holl and the value he has had this season because he's been bad, but as we said, man, he has been pretty good in the past, so if you really want to try and capitalize on that player profile, try to see if that's still there within this player, then be my guest, I guess. Let me know in the comments all your thoughts about this trade idea. I hope you enjoyed this video. Trolls99, and bye.